47 times. Nick, you are awesome. Thank you so much. All right, so Brian, I'm going to kick it over to you. I'm excited to hear about the enrollment piece today.
Cool. All right, beautiful. Can y'all hear me okay? Beautiful. Okay, so real quick, here's what I'm going to need. I'm going to need you today, right? We're day 4. We're day 4 of 90. So I need to see your smiling faces as inspiration for me to be able to bring this thing full circle. So can I see some teeth? Yeah, no half-ass smiles, people. There we go. Beautiful. So thank you so much once again, Kendra. I appreciate it. We're getting started on time. And remember, a couple points I want to make here real quick. Number 1, this is a 90-day Rhino run. That's 90 days. Now, that's 90 consecutive days. Now, here's the thing. As you get started, if you're brand new here and today is your first day, fantastic. But the point is, wherever you get inserted into the 90-day Rhino run, it's the commitment that you're making every day to hit the finish line, right? To not only hit through the finish line, but we're going to move through the finish line with massive momentum. So, hey, we're only 4 days in, folks. And then the reason that I really love the terminology and the whole point, and if you've ever read Scott Alexander's book, I'll get it here. Need a little bit more unleashed. But Scott Alexander's book, he talks about a rhino. You realize that when a rhino locks in on a target and he goes and he commits to it, he does not stop. He doesn't stop until he literally breaks through whatever it is that he's laser-like focused on, or he or she, sorry, male or female rhino, okay? So, point being, it's the same way here. That's the anchor that we wanted to give y'all, is that we're going to see this through, that we're going to lock on and we're going to go, go, go. So understand, we're only 4 days in, and there's so much more to do. There's so much more to learn, which brings me to my second point. Every time that you're here, I want you to start processing things 2 ways, and I want you to remember this. This is incredibly, incredibly important, because we have individuals here that are in so many different places in terms of where they're at with their experience here in Pruvit, or where they're at with their experience here in the industry, what have you. So point being is this, is that number 1, we need to make sure that we're learning for ourselves, right? We want to make sure that we're absorbing and we're learning, and we are getting the things that we need in order to advance, in order to fill in the gaps that we may have. And then the second thing is, some of you are very, very proficient. You're achievers. You've done it. Now it's about learning how to convey, how to teach others simply, right? Keeping things simple, keeping things concise, and teaching someone else how to do it. It's one thing to learn it. It's another thing to teach it. And truly, as most say, you never truly learn something until you have to teach it to someone else. So remember that. As you learn and as you create a foundation here, you now need to put it into action so that you can have experiences. The experiences are going to increase your level of awareness. And as you have more awareness, you can ultimately, that's going to help you mature, and that's going to help you grow. And now it's going to be a lot easier to turn around and help someone else do the same thing. Why? Because you have the conviction, you have the understanding, the awareness, the knowledge to be able to help people move forward, right? So that's a big piece of this, right? So if you're sitting here, you're literally absorbing in 2 ways. And if you're that person that's like, Brian, I've heard you say this 50 million times. Okay, well, you need to hear it another 50 million times, because maybe you get it, but are you good at relaying it? Are you good at transferring it to the individual in which you are set out to help, that you've committed to helping grow their business and reach their goals? It's super, super important. The last one is this, C1. When we go back, and for some of you, if you have not attended a leadership coaching dynamics, you need to get there. Why? Because they help. It's truly the development of leadership. It teaches you growth in some very simple formats. But C1, so remember, there's C1, C2, and C3. Now, here's what I will tell you. C1 is I do, you watch, meaning you are the example that you're trying to set for the individual that you're working with. Here's what I'm going to tell you. C1 is never convenient. C1 can be tough. Yes, it's the 4th day that I've had to put together content and prepare for it. And do you think that when I woke up this morning, it didn't cross my mind, I don't know, I don't want to do this today. This isn't convenient for me. This isn't, you better believe it is. But you know what? I have a duty. I have an obligation. And if you think, and if you're starting to listen to or read the recommended book, which is Grant Cardone's 10X Rule, when you can mentally change in your brain that success and the things that you want to do and the people you want to help, it's not an inconvenience, it's a freaking duty. It is a duty and a responsibility that if you take, you can and you will become successful. But you have to think of it as this is a duty to me. This is a duty to my family. This is a duty to the people, my customers. This is a duty to my team. This is an absolute duty and obligation. And if you think of it in that way and you think it's going to be convenient or you think success is going to be convenient, I promise you, you have a massive wake-up call waiting for you. Right? I think Nick Couch sent me, and him and I need to do a Facebook Live on this. He's been asking me all week, but I don't know what day he said, day whatever of the government shutdown. There are people losing their minds because they missed one paycheck, folks, one. And I can relate because I have been there before. I've lived my life paycheck to paycheck, and it's not a fun place to be. It is not a stable, exciting place to be. I've been there. But here's the deal. You're committing to, over the next 90 days, changing those circumstances, right? If you keep doing the same things that you've been doing up until this point, I promise you, you will get the exact same things that you got up until this point. Something has to change, and you have to commit to change, right? And number one is taking personal responsibility. So do I have a commitment from everyone? Give me a big hands up if I have a commitment to coach you today. Beautiful. So very quickly in review, what have we done? Tuesday was attract. And remember, I am laying the foundation, the very simple foundation. And remember this, if you tuned out because you're like, I already know that, you're already missing out. You need to go back and re-listen because I am trying to give you thought process and a foundation in which you're going to build your house. You can build the biggest mansion or the biggest skyscraper that you so choose, but if you do not have a solid foundation and you don't understand the why, you'll get to a point where you get to a sticking point, you won't be able to break through. So a lot of this week is about thought process. I'm not getting into a bunch of technique. Now, here's what I'll tell you. When you get the best of the best and prove it over these next 90 days, teaching and training and sharing with you, they are going to give you incredible techniques. They're going to help you optimize. But if you don't have a foundation to optimize and you don't have the thought process and understand the why, they will always give you the why to what they're doing, and then they'll give you the how-to. But if you don't have the right mindset, if you don't have the right thought process, you're not going to get to where you want to go. So it's incredibly important you understand that this week is foundational. And sometimes we more than ever need to go back to the basics, the simple foundation that we need to hone in, because I promise you it's the simple stuff that gets the biggest results. And many times the more we try to stay there and the more we grow, we just start getting away from it. And that's not what we want to do. So attraction, right? So a couple pieces of attraction and what you can look forward to learning moving forward. You're going to have some of the best people in all of Pruvit that have absolutely mastered attraction through social media. And you're going to be taught that over these next 90 days. Also in person, how to master this conversation in person, the wear and share concept, right? The mixers, right? Or some of the applicable environments of community-based marketing. You're going to learn how to hack all of those and how to optimize those. But once again, if you don't have the foundation, you're not going to be as effective as you could otherwise be. Connection, right? Connection to the product, connection to our specialists, connection to Inspire On videos, and most importantly, connection to the campfire video. Still to this day, it is the go-to, folks. It is the foundation in which now can open up. So if I have the most keto expert on the planet, I'm still sending him the campfire video, and then I will start connecting him to all the other resources to answer the questions, or at least to get to the next step with that individual, right? Now, we're going to talk today about experience and enroll. It's kind of the double E, right? And this is how it's going to be taught at the Playbook event. You're going to have the double E. What is the double E? It's experience and it's enrollment. And we're going to teach you how to hack those and absolutely crush that. But today I'm going to give you a lot, once again, foundation and thought process. This is super, super important. So here we go. That's the review of ACE. So now My next point. So I've asked the question. I've now sent the campfire video. Now what I'm doing is I am connecting a bridge from that person's wants and needs to the actual experience of the product, of ketones, of the ketone operating system, of this, right? That's my next point. So that's what I want to do. Now, here's what I will tell you. We have learned that there is a way in which you can maximize somebody's experience. So from the connection piece, from the campfire video to getting someone a 5 or 10 day experience, once again, I keep stuff stupid simple. So I've asked the question, right? Which is the attraction piece. I've connected them to the campfire video. Now I want to connect them from the campfire video to the experience, but I want to make sure that I'm honing in on their personal needs and their personal wants. So I'm going to ask them, what most resonated with you with that video? And then typically something that I like to do is I like to highlight all of the compliant, and I will repeat that, all of the compliant benefits that you can find on the website, on the box, wherever, to make sure that, hey, now let's deep dive energy, fat loss, focus into a couple other subcategories. And I just say, hey, how many of these things would most interest you? Or how many of these things would you be most focused on in terms of your health or what it is you want to accomplish, right? Then from that point, once they give me a response of what it is they're looking to fix or what it is they're looking to optimize or what it is that they want from this technology, I am going to offer them a 5 or 10 day experience. Real quick. This is a 10 experience in massive detail. So where you can absolutely crush and optimize it. But from a thought process standpoint, why do I personally offer a 5 or nothing or a 10 or nothing? Then they can give me the response of a 5 or nothing, yes or no. I don't want that. I want to give them 2 positive options. What are 2 positive options? Would you like a 5 day or would you like a 10 day? I'm not going to attach a price because all of you have your price. It's your personal operation. However you want to do it. If you want to come in under, if you want to break even, if you want to make a profit, it doesn't matter. But the point is this. Number one is I'm giving them 2 options, 2 positive options that give me a positive outcome, 5 or 10. That's just that's personally how I do it. It's human psychology. I don't want a yes or a no. I want a 5 or a 10. Very, very simple, right? Second piece to this is it's a very low commitment. They don't have to go on the website and sign up and make a large commitment. Now, sometimes they want to, and you can still say, hey, would you like a 5-day experience, 10-day experience, or would you like to go on and jump right into the full experience? Right? Which one works for you? I don't mind adding that third option. And for some of you, maybe you add a 10 and a full experience or a 5 and a full experience. The point is, human psychology is let's give them 2 positive options, right? Not a yes or a no. Hey, would you like a 5-day experience? Yes. Hey, would you like a 5-day experience? No, I don't want that. I want a positive outcome. Is this making sense? Shake your head yes if it is. Okay, beautiful. So the beauty of this is if you can get someone a 5 or 10 day experience, they have to engage and interact with you. I'm guilty of this. Anytime I get somebody to go on directly and sign up on the website, it becomes more of a transaction and it doesn't give me opportunity to be as relational as I want to be. The reason I love the 5 and 10 is low commitment. They stick with me over a period of 5 to 10 days so I can stay connected to them. And I have to physically get them the product. I have to physically, monitor them through the process, which I promise you is incredibly, incredibly helpful. And then lastly is that I get to kind of work and walk them through that. Now you'll learn that the 5 or 10 day experience more than anything is just a way to get them to try the different flavors, versions. Because remember this, the key to ketones working and the key to the 5 and 10 day experience working is consistency. And if you want people to stay on ketones, they need to be taking ketones every single day until their body adapts to them and they absolutely desire them, want them, need them. They can't be without them. So key is this, and I'll give you a personal example, greens. I know I should be, now I'm eating a lot more vegetables. I committed a couple of months ago I need to get more fiber in my diet. I want to eat more vegetables, but before I had the greens, right? And I was taking them. They taste like shit. Therefore, I don't look forward to taking them. Therefore, I typically take them once every 4 days. Therefore, I don't maximize the benefit of using them. It's the same thing with ketones. There are flavors. How many of you, just be honest, have flavors you don't like? Okay. Now, if you don't like them, you may drink them because you understand the benefit and you know what you want out of it, but you won't do it consistently. We want consistency. It's another part of the 5 and 10. Because the thing is, if they go right on and get a flavor they don't like, guess what? Now we got to backtrack. Now we got to fix it. And the other thing is very simply this. While you may be very, very good at getting them to transact online, the next person, everything we do here, everything I think about and I do has got to be replicated by anybody. I literally run a filter. I literally ask my son Atlas, I'm like, hey, dude, does this make sense to you? And if he says no, I need to dumb it down a little bit more. Literally, it needs to be that simple and it needs to be that replicatable, if you will. Super important. So there's all these other facets about it. And the thing is you're going to get this in great detail. I don't have enough time to get in great depth, but that's a super important piece. It's low commitment. It allows for personal engagement and it allows you to be able to work through to find out what they truly like to now transition them to being consistent to getting the results that they want. Super, super, super important, okay? Now, product expectations is huge. Once again, I don't have time for it. You have a resource, and I still use it to this day. It is the Hacker's Guide, because when someone is transitioning onto the product, there are going to be sometimes drastic occurrences, if you will, right? So I want to make sure that they're reading the Hacker's Guide, and I want to make sure that I'm setting a proper expectation. Success is so much more available if you will learn to set up proper expectation. Just so you know, that doesn't just have to do with this product. That has to do with your relationships, your family, your work, your whatever. You want to set the right expectation. Expectations are key. So you can share, hey, this is what I did. Hey, you can use the Hacker's Guide as a connection tool and a resource. Super important that we use resources, but it's very simple, right? The Hacker's Guide is going to tell them they need to drink a little bit more water. They need to get electrolytes, sea salt, whatever. And sometimes for some people that continue on, they may need to get good fiber in their system so that they don't have the negative occurrence of the big flush, right? So what we want to set up, because here's the thing. If you haven't set an expectation ahead of time and it happens, it's like, oh my God, this is bad. No, she told me this was as I'm sitting on the toilet, she told me this was gonna happen. Okay, this is okay, right? No worries. So expectations are absolutely massively important. So Hacker's Guide, boom, boom, boom. Once again, there's gonna be an entire training just on 5 and 10 day experiences alone that are gonna cover all the details around optimizing the 5 and 10 day experience. So the next point, and this is super important, once again, all thought process, is the way to, because people ask all the time, that they're creating this massive distinction between customer and promoter. Customer and promoter. All a promoter is someone that made a decision. All a promoter is a customer that made a decision to do more, to be better, to have more, to do more, to be more. And here's the reason I say that. Because the way to get to promoter is through customer. So what do I mean by that? And some of you are like, well, I didn't do that. I would challenge that statement. Here's the reason for me. Number one is that I was first a customer. Well, how's that possible, Brian? You were around since the beginning. Well, when we first started the formula and we started testing stuff out, I literally had to be just a user, which I will consider a customer. And here's the reason why. Because for 6 months, I was just using the product. I was testing different versions of the product. There was no way for me to be a promoter because I had freaking nobody to promote to. I didn't have a link to send anybody. I didn't have a way to earn income. I didn't have a way to profit. Zero. So I became a fan. I became a fan of the product and the technology, the way it made me feel, the experiences that I was having. And that helped me be a freaking amazing promoter, right? Now, here's what I will tell you. Based on, when we first started, I took my previous experience and I said, boom, I'm just going to sign people up in a promoter, in the business, in the business, in the business. And here's what happened. And this is one thing I'm going to talk about tomorrow, They did not understand why our model and our approach to the marketplace here is so much different than everybody else, because you're not selling a business here. And for some of you that's what you've done in the past, that's fantastic. You can microwave the process, but you've got to get people started the right way. That's what differentiates us. Because if you ask 10 people right now, out of all these benefits, who wants better and who believes they can have better in terms of their health, you get a whole bunch of response. If you say, hey, out of 10 people, are you open to other ways of making income? You're going to get a lot less positive responses. And that's the difference. And I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. It's going to be a big part of what I'm framing up for everybody tomorrow. And I realized that on a call that I had 2 days ago of how important it is for you to understand the bigger picture and the framework of why Pruvit is so different than everything else out there. Super important for sure. So every time that I tried to put the promoter before the customer, they did not have a good experience. They didn't even use the product because they put no importance. They put no focus. They put no attention on the product. Literally, the ones that were like, man, I thought this thing was going to rock, man. I'm like, great. How are you? How's your experience? How's the product? I don't know, man. Ever since you sent it to me, it's been sitting on my desk. Well, no shit, right? No shit. It didn't work out the way that you wanted it to because you have no belief in it. You have to have belief in what you're doing. You have to remember, it goes back to if you watched in the promoter group where everything starts with potential. Do you believe it has potential? And then you act on it and then you get a result and the result raises your belief. It's the same damn thing for you being a fan of the product. This is massive because if you try to put the cart before the horse, it'll always end up effing up. You're going the wrong direction every time. That's not what you want to do. Okay. So big piece of this for sure is literally now check this out. Somebody could literally drink the product and say, oh my God, this is amazing. Great. And then now they're like, how do I want to share this. Hey, I don't care if they were a customer and had a customer experience that was 1 minute long. I don't care if it was 15 minutes long. I don't care if it was a day long. I don't care if it was a week long. I don't care if it was 2 years long. I don't care if it was 3.5 years long. They need to have an experience. They need to be a fan. They need to be a customer. And once again, everything happens in replication. So the thing is if you're just boom, 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 promoters, at some point it's going to hit a sticking point where now they can't replicate because they're going off of a skill set that you've built over time. And now it hits a sticking point and it's like, it's not growing anymore. That's because you're not setting it up in the way in which we first laid out this foundation when literally the inception of Pruvit launched, right? So I'm short on time here, so I'm trying to rock through this. So this is a big part of it, right? A big part of it. If you do not believe in what you have, then at some point you're just unauthentically transacting with people, and there's no long tail to that. It will stop eventually, dead in its tracks. This is a big piece. Once again, we're talking about bigger thought process here. So, call to action. Very simple today. Your call to action, super simple. Here we go. Can y'all read this? Can y'all see this? Hold on, let me put it up a little higher. Hold on. Okay. Can y'all see this? A little bit? Okay, I'm going to read it off. 5 more questions. We're going to have 5 more attractions today. We're going to start compounding this, right? You should have 3 days now. You should have at a minimum committed to asking 15 questions to 15 different human beings, right? Second point is the connections. The connections very simply. So if you've laid a foundation of 15 over the last 3 days, you now have the ability, and I want you to make a strong attempt to connect 5 of the 15 to the campfire video. Obviously, there's other resources, but in this case, let's keep it simple. For some of you that are advanced, feel free to skip ahead based on your experience. And the last piece is 5 experiences. 5 experiences. Because remember this, foundationally, this is what builds the foundation to be able to connect and to be able to experience, right? And it'll literally be a reverse Christmas tree. Why? Because you lay a big foundation to be able to have as many connections as possible, to then be able to have as many experiences as possible, experiences and enrollments, right? So that's what I want to challenge you today. 5, 5, and 5, and this is going to start compounding itself significantly, right? So it's keeping it incredibly simple. Now, tomorrow will be a legend hacking success huddle. Couple things I'm going to cover tomorrow is number one, why Pruvit is so different than anything else out there. There's literally nothing like what we do. And it's important for you to understand why, okay? It'll make you it'll increase your belief. And if you're not to that point yet where you've gone through the momentum cycle, it will definitely increase your potential that you believe that this vehicle has. The other thing is I'm going to teach you a promoter hack, laying a foundation. I'm going to reference kind of a deck of cards and how that works. It's actually something that I did a coaching call with Alexis Brady yesterday, and it's one thing that I realized, hey, would be a good understanding, a good baseline. And I'm going to tie it into the Go Challenge. I'm going to tie it into to literally the Go Challenge, which I don't have a chance to dive into today because with experience then comes hand in hand with enrollment. And when enrollment happens, and remember, I'm looking for a customer. They don't have to transact as a customer, but through a 5 or 10 day experience or through a sample, there and now, they can be, that's still, to me, in my mind, that's still a customer experience. It's still a fan experience. And then at that point, I'm converting them to transacting through enrollment, but I want to continue to build relation along the way. And then ultimately, the building block and the massive emphasis that will be put on this next week will be the actual Go Challenge. And that's a piece today that I want to cover that actually is, I'm going to turn this back over to Kendra because this is a massive piece. I got done in my time frame. Now we're going to reserve an extra 5 minutes. And here's what Kendra's going to do for you. Number one, she's going to let you know where you can start learning. Because here's the question. If I was to unmute any of you right now, could you teach everybody else on here with absolute clarity, certainty? Number one, where to find Go Challenge resources. Number two, how to explain the exact requirements for Go Pro, Go MVP, and Go All-Star. Give me a big hands up. And then if I unmute you right now, you can teach all of us how to effectively know everything we need to know about the Go Challenge. Go Pro, Go MVP, Go All-Star. Come on. There's no hands on the first screen. Are you kidding me? Oh, got some half hands. Y'all don't count. That's called lack of certainty. Okay? So, it's absolutely crucial. So here's what Kendra, I'm going to put this back to Kendra. Number one, where to find the resources. Number two, super important. Number two, where to literally, so when I say resources, there's a number one is actually I'm going to have her explain it, but she's going to tell you where to find the resources on the Fast Start. She's going to tell you on the Pruvit promoter page where to get somebody that's going to break it down in great detail, another human being breaking it down in great detail. And another call to action for y'all on top of the 5, 5, and 5 is very simply this. Those that have not done it, those that have got started maybe improperly or without the knowledge of how important the Go Challenge is, you connect them to those resources. You connect them to that training, which Nick Martinez does. And then lastly, starting next week on Thursday, we will open up. We'll end the call for everybody that, after our regular training, and then we'll open up the call 5 to 10 minutes for questions specifically around the Go Challenge. Why? Because ultimately, if you want to build this, if you want to go legend, it all starts with the Go Challenge. It's the brick that you'll continue to lay through through Go Pro, Go MVP, Go All-Star, rank 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 with all 3 sub-ranks, and then ultimately legend. It's the brick that you must know. And I will tell you this, is that if you didn't confidently put your hand up and say, I can freaking smash this, I know it in and out, then you know what you're lacking. And we'll do it every Thursday until you get it. And I would encourage you to be on every one of them because you have to know it. It's the most important thing that every one of us does if we want to advance. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to you, Kendra.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That was huge. The experience part, raise your hand if you've ever just been tempted to just skip right through to let's just get you a box. Anybody? right? And like jump over the experience part. And this whole week has been such an amazing refresher into the simplicity that like how we got enrolled. Exactly what Brian said. We tried the product, zero intention of wanting to be promoters. We did not want to do this business. We tried the product and we were like, oh, okay. And then we repeated that same process. And so what Brian was just mentioning with the the Go Challenge on repeat is the reason why every single person I know in this business who has had any success is that way, is in that place. It literally comes back to that. It goes to that Go Pro, Go MVP, Go All-Star, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. So the page that, and when, Brian, when you asked us to raise our hands, the reason I didn't raise my hand was because I'm not the expert, right? So I never personally try to explain it. You ever try to explain something to somebody and you're like, I'm screwing this up, or like you said, like I will literally say, look, let's print off these resources together. You go over it, tell me what questions you have. So a great place to go first, and I'll type the link right in here, is pruvitnow.com/fast start. Every single video that someone, I mean, literally down to like, how do I find my referrer code? Like, how do I do this? You never want to be the message. You want to just be the messenger. And Brian was referencing this earlier in the week. The more you lead someone to the resources that they can find for themselves, you're literally training up promoters who can then train other promoters. If you're taking it all on, like, I can tell you the Go Challenge, I can tell you how to do this, not only are you creating a lot of work and stress for yourself, but you're creating dependent promoters, right? Or dependent business partners when you really, your goal is to create independent people who know how to smash the Go Challenge and who can turn around and duplicate that and train somebody else to then do the same thing. So that is the first one, that pruvitnow.com // either way, it's right there, fast start. And then the other one is going to be the Prove It promoter page. Am I frozen or is Brian frozen? Okay, he's moving now, so we're good. So the other thing, okay, nobody's frozen, perfect. So the other thing, so Brian, is that what you wanted me to cover for that, for the Go Challenge? Cool. Next thing, moving on before we close out tonight, there is at 9:15, the website, the link is proveketo.com. There's a champion success profile tonight. This is a great way to use that connect piece to someone who, you know, wants some more information about what is possible here at Prove It. Katie Rollins is going to be interviewing Nick and Kelly Couch. I absolutely love their story so much. If you don't know their story, get on. You're literally going to be blown away. Talk about two people who literally are so committed to the simple, proven steps. Like there's no fanfare, there's no fluff. Nick and Kelly Couch are literally step by step by step by step. 9:15 Eastern Standard Time. Yes, proveketo.com. So just like Brian was saying, and I want to circle back to that before I close out, the Prove It Promoter Facebook group, if you go in there, Nick Martinez's video, go in there, tag your teams so they can have a visual explanation. There's the video, right? And then you actually have a person explaining it, right? A leader explaining it. So that's the challenge. Awesome. And I think, Brian, did I cover what you wanted me to cover there? Perfect. So we learned today all about experience. We have 2 calls to action, a ton of amazing things to do. The champion success profile tonight. You all are absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for showing up. Make sure if you see your business partner or someone who you're friends with was not on this call today, make sure you shoot the link out to them, and we'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye, guys.